Welcome back to Face to Face. I'm Jon Ralston. Doug Hampton, the former chief of staff to John Ensign, whose wife had an affair with John Ensign, is finally telling his side of the story. To refresh people's memory, February 2008, after John Ensign had not seemed remorseful to you, continued to pursue your wife, you had some friends, including U.S. Senator Tom Coburn, confront Ensign. You were there. They had him write a letter to your wife, which you have provided us a copy of, and we are showing now. Let me show people, Mr. Hampton, part of the letter that Senator Ensign, and in your description, FedEx to your wife that same day. We're going to attempt to authenticate this to get John Ensign to say whether or not he really wrote this letter. But let me read from it.
Okay.
Plain and simple, it was wrong. It was sin. God never intended for us to do this. I walked away from him, that's all caps meaning God, and my relationship with him has suffered terribly. I know he loves me and I know he loves you. He wants to restore Darlene, that's his wife, and me, and wants to restore Doug and you. More than that, he wants to restore our relationship to him. That sounds like someone who's repentant to me.
Yeah, man, that's good.
What happens next?
24 hours later, he's with Cindy back in Las Vegas. This took place on a Thursday. This took place on a Thursday. And we normally traveled home on a Friday. John traveled home. And we were home, and I confronted John and Cindy in a very difficult encounter a day after this letter was written. They had met, and I confronted John, confronted Cindy, and that weekend was a horrific weekend for our families. Darlene was down in San Diego with her little girl. And that weekend, and through that occurrence, John told me flat out, Doug, I'm in love with your wife.
He said those words to you after he'd written this letter saying he'd made a terrible mistake and he was repentant, and this is about God.
The weekend right after. I'm in love with your wife.
Have you talked to Darlene Ensign or anybody else since this all occurred?
Oh, well, the last, I think, real talk, so to speak, with Darlene or that is in April. So, April of last year.
I do want to ask you about another aspect of this and some of the language that you use, so you can elaborate on this a little bit and what's left in this part of the program. In your letter to Fox News about Senator Ensign's rise to power, you talked about him being head of the policy committee, which he's now resigned for the Republican Party. It's a number 4 position. We, on the other hand, are completely ruined and left to deal with the aftermath. And this is the interesting language, sir. Very evil and completely unjustifiable acts by one of our country's top leaders. Tell me what those very evil and unjustifiable acts are that you referred to in that letter.
Somehow John believed that my feelings or how I feel about Cindy is insignificant or detached, so to speak, from how I'm dealing with this whole employment, this whole I'm the senator, and the bottom line is that I make the decisions and do the things that I want to do. So that Darlene reached out somewhere in February to Mike Slanker and said, this is going on, and I need your help.
This is John Ensign's top political aide, in case people don't know who Mike Slanker is.
Of the NRSC. He is the political director, Mike Slanker.
You're saying Darlene Ensign called Mike Slanker?
Yes, absolutely. Appealing for help. We were all appealing. I had appealed to the men and Tom Coburn for help. Darlene was reaching out and appealing to others for help. So Mike knew. Well, when John knew that Mike knew, and that's what's interesting in some of the stuff that's come out of here, absolutely the Slankers knew. We had to orchestrate through the NRSC.
He's denied that to the AP.
Yeah, that's just not right. That's wrong.
He knew when he hired you at November Inc. that what the circumstances were?
Absolutely.
He knew everything.
Yeah. Did he know? I have no point in reference. I can't go to the night that Darlene called Mike. Okay, that night. But it spilled over into March, into April, and he was an intimate part of traveling with Ensign when he came to visit me downtown and said, Doug, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to reopen. He's going to open November Inc. You're going to consult. I'm going to get you some clients. You're going to get back here to the state and out of my official office. That's what we're going to do, the steps we're going to take. That was just told to me. Now, look.
Why, we have 30 seconds left, sir. Why in all of this? And again, I don't think anybody can relate to being in your situation. It's such an incredible story. But why at some point didn't you say, you know what, John, and say a couple words I won't say here on this program. We're done. We're getting out of here. We're leaving. I don't want your help finding a job. I'm going to go find a job somewhere else in another state.
Sure.
I can't be near you. Why
sure.
didn't you
There
do
was
that?
some definite exchanges because lives, kids. Our children referred to him as uncle. We had dinner together. Our kids are entwined. We're watching our children go through this from school, their life, their angle. Darlene, this is tragic. John is so focused, hyper-focused on what he wants and what he's pursuing that he's not seeing the collateral damage that's going on in people's lives.
I want to talk about the circumstances when you come back for the second part about how you left John Ensign's employ. And on the next Face-to-Face, we're going to hear again from Doug Hampton, the man whose wife had an affair with Senator John Ensign, about how he was thrown out of Ensign's office. What was he told? What was his wife told? And what about that mysterious severance? More of our exclusive interview with John Ensign's former best friend, Doug Hampton. That's on the next Face-to-Face.